Good afternoon or evening, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll get started in a couple of minutes. If you feel so inclined, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, where you're calling in from, where you work, anything interesting. It's great to have a nice big group here today. Thank you, Carol. I am glad too. It's a lot of fun. All right. Well, the folks popping into the waiting room seems to be slowing down. So um, why don't we rock and roll? Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Natalie Hennigan. I'm a board member of Build Reuse. My day job is I work for Habitat for Humanity of the Greater La Crosse region, which is in southwestern Wisconsin. I'm really, really happy that Build Reuse has been hosting some more informal one-off webinars over the last few months as sort of a lead up to our Deconstruction and Reuse Conference next February in Savannah, Georgia. This is the first time we'll be back in person for this conference in several years, so we're very, very excited and trying to build up that energy through all of these different learning opportunities throughout the year. So. Before I introduce our speaker and our topic, I will put a plug in for our next webinar, which is coming up on December 13th. Same time, 4 p.m. Eastern. And this will be with Andrew Ellsworth. He's the founder of Doors Unhinged, based in Pittsburgh. Andrew will give sort of an introductory training on starting a commercial reuse enterprise. Andrew and Doors Unhinged have been reclaiming and reselling commercial doors and frames and hardware since 2018. So it's a chance for lots of Q&A and learning some hard-earned lessons from one of the experts in the commercial reuse field. So registration will be opening soon for that. Registration has opened for the conference in Savannah, which we are very excited about. So this is February 12th through 14th. Decon and Reuse Conference. I will plop the registration link here in the chat. If you are a Build Reuse member, you save some dollars. If you join as a team and bring some of your coworkers along, you can save some dollars. And if you take advantage of early bird pricing, you will save some dollars on getting yourself to Savannah. So we hope to have a nice crew there for the conference next February. Please feel free to pop any questions you have for me, for Build Reuse, or for a presenter in the chat. We'll have plenty of time for Q&A near the end, and we'll let you go enjoy your evening when we wrap up. I'm so happy to have Deshante Campbell here today. Deshante works for the Rebuilding Center out of Portland, Oregon, and he's the general manager of their retail store. So Deshante is going to give a presentation about building a resilient future and the model that Rebuilding Center has been piloting these last few years. And I find it really inspirational. I hope you all do too. And again, I hope you enjoy. Deshante, I'll pass it off to you.
Thank you, Natalie. Good evening, everyone. As Natalie said, I am the GM for the Rebuilding Center. I've been with the Rebuilding Center for about 4 years now. I started on the floor as the online salesperson, and so I kind of worked my way up through management. My first promotion was to store manager, then general manager. I've been with the Rebuilding Center as far as employment for 4 years, but I've known about the Rebuilding Center since 1998. because I grew up a half a mile from the Rebuilding Center. The first time I stepped in the Rebuilding Center was to buy material to repair some stairs in the kitchen, to redo the kitchen floor of my grandparents' home. And that is when I kind of took a liking or found a love for reuse. I learned quickly that if you didn't have the right amount of money, you couldn't buy certain materials. We went to several different stores, and when we finally came to the Rebuilding Center, that's when we found products or material that was in our budget that we could afford to make the project. So I've always had kind of a love for the place and a love for reuse. Today, I'll be talking about how the Rebuilding Center follows our mission and leverages our resources to keep people safe in their homes. The Rebuilding Center understands that people who can repair their homes are a lot more safer in their homes and more resilient to climate change, especially people on a budget like my grandparents were. We also understand that there's a tremendous amount of waste going into the landfill from building materials, whatever you can think of. There's just a ton of waste in the landfills. So what we do here is we connect the people that need the material with the people that are looking to get rid of the material. And we also teach people how to make repairs instead of replace. We do this in 5 different ways. I like to consider it 5 different tiers. We have one, the Rebuilding Center store, which we provide access to affordable reuse building material. We also have reuse education classes that we offer and teach people how to make repairs in their home. And then a combination of the two is the Home Repair for All program that we just launched recently. And that is people being able to come into the store and getting a gift card and getting free classes. And I'll talk more details about that later. We also have the power of volunteers. Volunteers help our store as well as our community. And then we also include inclusion and equity processes in our hiring. There's been a large change in the recent years. The Rebuilding Center was founded in 1997 with the motto of keeping it out of the landfill. And so we kind of, a few years back, we kind of looked at it and decided that wasn't enough to just keep things out of the landfill, because what was happening, people were coming into the store, making purchases for items that they didn't know whether or not it worked or not. And chances is 9 times out, a lot of the times it didn't work, and they would come back to the store and look for a refund. And the Rebuilding Center does not give out cash refunds. So it kind of left a bad taste in the public's mouth. With that in mind, and wanting to reorganize the store, we decided to focus solely on the users and not just keeping it, not solely focused on it, but we added the focus of the users and not just keeping it out of the landfill. And so what we did was start looking at things like what is good enough for people to take home and just use and not have to call someone to repair it or call a tradesperson to install it. Excuse me, I got a little ahead of myself there. Let me tell you about the Rebuilding Center building itself. The Rebuilding Center building is 30,000 square feet, and it is made of used building materials. So when people walk in, that's the first thing they see is the doors that's on the wall or the canoe that's a light fixture. So we kind of walk the talk, we just don't say we want to keep it out of the landfill. We also promote reuse and sustainability in our practices. The Rebuilding Center store is where we recently made a ton of changes. We evolutionized in a way, because before we was kind of just handwriting tickets. Now we have barcodes, et cetera, et cetera. Excuse me. Uh, the changes we made in the store, there's no more broken items. As I mentioned, that people will come to the store, buy items, take it home, and not know if it worked and have a refund. So now when people come in and want to make a donation to us, we kind of make sure the item is usable still, has some type of acceptable life remaining in it. All of the items that we put on the floor are priced, they're cleaned, and this gets rid of the haggling. The haggling was a big problem in the rebuilding center because if you were a veteran shopper, you knew that you can haggle and get a different price than a person that came into the store for the first time. And it left people feeling, you know, like there was a good old boys club to say. So we got rid of that. We make sure people see our prices when they walk in on for the item. They don't have to ask people for the item, for the price of the item. And then another thing we did is we opened up our aisles. We used to have tight aisles that was just full of whatever you can think of. So we kind of opened up the space, and what that did, it now is it allows access to wheelchairs. Customers are able to walk past each other without having to slide past each other. And then we also implemented uniform signage. And why that matters is it lets people know that we care about this place and we want you to be able to find the things that you need. And oftentimes when we used to make a sign, it would just be some printer paper that we would just print out and hang. Now we have section signs where it just clearly marks the section, so it makes it easier for people to shop when they know what sign to look for, or what font or what color. Some of the other things we do is we display less of our inventory. And we learned that just because we get 50 doors doesn't mean we have to put out all 50 doors. Customers kind of, we've learned, doesn't value the total amount. The more we have, the less of a value it has in the customer's eyes. And so we kind of start using storage facilities to store off our extra doors or whatever material we may have. And then that prevents us from having large piles of items on the floor, which create trip hazards, makes people come in curious whether or not they can dig through that pile to look for it. And then some people don't even want to dig in a pile. You know, everybody's not a treasure hunter. And so we've kind of created an atmosphere that's easy for people to shop through when they come to the store. We've put in signs to teach people how to shop in the store. We put in signs for people to know what area has what material. And it also helps the salvage specialist when they are putting away material to know where it goes. Because before the signs, we used to just put it wherever it fit. You know, 1 week it might be 2x4s over here. The next week it might be vinyl windows. And that created kind of a chaotic feel for customers because they came in not knowing exactly where items would be in the store. So they begin to walk around and search. The type of things we offer in the store are appliances, cabinets, trim, windows, anything you can think of that would be in your typical home improvement store. We also offer furniture. We offer cedar, not reclaimed cedar. We offer fresh cedar. And the way we're able to do that is because we buy cedar that is not the quality that they would be having at a regular box store. We buy cedar that has some type of blemish. It might be a miscut. It might have outer bark on it. And the way we offer it to the customers is we sell it by the usable foot. So if that board has a crack in it, the part that contains the crack, we will not sell it to the customer. They only pay for the parts that's good. We also offer recycled paint. And we recently just started offering paint sundries to create kind of a one-stop shopping experience for customers that's looking for paint. Because we found people would come in and have to purchase paint from us, but go to another store to buy a paintbrush, or go to another store to buy a paint tray, anything, rollers, anything you can think of that you would need for a paint job. customers would have to leave here. So we wanted to create a one-stop shopping area to further our service for the painting customer. And it's been up for about 3 months now, and it's been going good. We're looking to continue to, oh my.
I trust he's coming back. Uh-oh. I'm so sorry about that. Anyone been to the Rebuilding Center before? Allison asks. Okay, Jackie. I wish it's on my list. Yeah. Absolutely. Road trip, yeah. Or train trip. Melissa's a big train fan, yeah. Great question. How many other reuse centers are represented in this meeting? Folks, you can feel free to come off mute too if you'd like while we wait for Deshante to get back, but other people representing reuse centers across the country. I'm at a Habitat and my office door opens up to our restore and oh, here he is. Good. I'm already getting lots of ideas. Big reuse. Love it. Hey, Deshante, are you back? There we go.
Okay, sorry
Hey,
about that.
oh, good. Oh, glad you made it. All right.
Am I sharing the screen?
Yes,
You can see it?
I can. Yep.
Okay. All right. Uh, yeah. Are we ready? We good?
Go for it. Yes. Yeah.
And we're looking
Deshante.
to,
Oh, sorry.
are we good?
Yes. I'm sorry. Go for it.
All right. All right. I'm gonna just go start to the next slide. Okay. How we receive our material is through deconstruction firms, all sorts of companies, businesses, and individuals. We've received material from deconstruction firm, anything from deconstruction firms, anything from appliances to old growth lumber. Contractors, we may get anything that's left over from a job. Manufacturers might give us something that's a closeout item, something from the end of the year. They just need to make room for the next year's inventory, or it might be a wrong order, wrong color, anything like that. So we get, both used material and new material depending on the source. And the benefit of donating to us, you get a tax benefit. We provide each donor with a tax receipt that they can then file with the IRS. We do not put the value of the item on the tax receipt. We leave that up to the donor and IRS. A person donating with us won't have any dump fees, so that's waste out of the landfill still. And if they needed a pickup for a donation, we have the lowest pickup fees in town. The Rebuilding Center noticed the need and has the resources to kind of help. And all of this matters because homes are old, and 45% of homes built before 1940 need repair. 30% of all occupied homes have structural plumbing, heating, some type of damage that needs some type of repair. And a majority of the people that have homes that are in need of repair may be physically unable to make those repairs themselves, or they may be financially unable to afford to buy the material or pay someone to make the changes. So that's when the Rebuilding Center comes in. We also offer education classes. The classes focus on 5 different areas: tools and technique, carpentry, electrical, plumbing, creative reuse. This class, these classes, I should say, are amazing. A lot of first-time customers come in, discover that we have a workshop and are interested in taking a class because they always wanted to do this project but didn't have the skills to do the project, and they take the class, they fall in love with the instructors that we have because they're wonderful, and they come back and take more classes. And one of the great things I like about our education department is this year we started having youth summer camps. So high school kids will come in and they'll take a camp for about a week and learn different skills. There was a day where they learned how to build lights, table lights. I thought that was pretty cool. We host about 145 classes a year with a variety, the 83 for carpentry, the 22 for plumbing and electric, and the 13 for creative reuse. We offer the classes is 3 hours for under $100. That seems reasonable, but yet there's still people that can't afford to pay that. So we offer scholarships for the people that have low income and can't afford the tuition. We also have BIPOC focused classes and also a BIPOC focused scholarship that we offer. The Rebuilding Center realizes for every affordable housing unit that we build, 2 others are lost to abandonment, deterioration, and conversion to more expensive housing. This is a trend that's been going on for quite some time in the Portland area and other parts of the country. So it inspired the Rebuilding Center to create a program called Home for All, because many longtime homeowners began to get complaints and fines from the city for building violations that they were, for whatever reason, the homeowners were unable to fix. Noticing that need and wanting to use the resources to further support the community, the Rebuilding Center decided to create the Home for All program. The program is a 6-month cohort, up to 30 participants per session. The participants will receive free home repair classes, $500 gift card for materials in the Rebuilding Center store, free delivery if they're transit dependent, a support group, a newsletter with best practices and resources. I wish something like this existed when my grandparents needed help. I could have took the classes and kind of learned how to fix their stairs or do their kitchen because it didn't turn out that good. It was my first time. Let's just say I started from the middle of the floor and I learned the hard way. Do not start from the middle of the floor when you're doing tile flooring. But nonetheless, it's here now. It's great. It just launched. We're in our first cohort. And yeah, I think it's a great thing for the community. The rebuilding center also has volunteer services where volunteers can come and for whatever reason they come here, whether it's just out the kindness of their heart or they're being asked to come here by the court. They can volunteer in the administrative service, administrative office. They can volunteer as help in the store. Also, we have teaching opportunities where people can volunteer and be a teaching assistant. This summer we had our first go around with internships, young youth coming in and interning throughout the store. They were a great addition to the store, and also they picked up some career skills for themselves to use as they go out through life. The volunteer program also has a event that we like to call Day of Service. And what that basically is every year we team up with the African American Alliance for Home Ownership, and we go through and we perform maintenance on houses throughout the local area. We generally take on projects like carpentry, painting, small electrical, like switching out, replacing the switches, ceiling fans, maybe some yard maintenance, fences, that type of stuff. Nothing major, but something that improves the quality of living for the homeowner. We've noticed great differences, whether as you look at the picture, the gentleman is putting up the fence. For someone that couldn't do it themselves, that is a great relief because it adds security to their home. They feel a lot safer now because they don't have to worry about somebody just pushing through the fence and coming into their property. The Rebuilding Center also has worked to create equitable hiring practices, such as removing the educational requirements from job descriptions, valuing life experience. We recognize that not everyone has had a traditional job or had the traditional experience. So we kind of, meet people where they're at as far as their experience when it comes to employment here. We pay attention to what we post and we make sure we're not putting in any language that alienates a group of people. We try to make sure our posts are all inclusive. We put our wages out there so people know what we're offering. We also do not ask for resumes or cover letters where it's warranted. Every position can't be that way. We also decide on the top 3 requirements for each position. Maybe for the store, for instance, customer service experience and customer service related experience is important in the store because we survive off customer service. We are a reuse organization. People can go get everything new that we have. So for the people that don't need to shop here, they come here because they love reuse, they love the Rebuilding Center. We want to make sure that every employee has a good customer service ethic. And we also send interview questions ahead of time because we don't want people to feel like they've been put on a spot in an interview. We want people to be able to get their answers together. And it also helps on us because now we get to see who really took the time to answer the questions, who really took the time to kind of research the Rebuilding Center. Wow, that's the end of it. If you guys have any questions, I would love to answer them.
Thank you so much, Deshante. We do have one question that popped up in the chat asking if you can provide info on how your classes are funded.
Our classes are funded with grant money and revenue from the store. Traditionally, the store used to fund the entire organization. 98% of the store revenue would come, 98% of the revenue from the store would fund the entire organization. Things have changed. The education is now making more money. We get more grants. So 63% of the revenue from the store feeds the rest of the organization.
Thank you. Megan asked, how do you handle waivers or liability for youth programming?
That's a good question. I can link you with Jack, who's the head of our education department. He can answer you that. Unfortunately, I don't know.
Do you sell materials online? And if so, where can we find them?
Yes, we sell material online. We have an online store at store.rebuildingcenter.org, or you can just go to the rebuildingcenter.org and hit the link of what we sell, and the online store will be over there. We also have an eBay account. We sell right now, majority of the items online are lighting and faucets, a couple sinks, some home decor items. We're looking to put more of the items that we have in the store, appliances, lumber, cabinets. We just launched our new version. We like to call it on Rebuilding Center Online 2.0 in August. So we're kind of just in the beginning stages and gradually adding inventory as we go along.
That's super exciting. Couple more questions. How are your materials, the materials you provide to for homeowner repairs, how are they vetted? Are people always okay with getting used materials?
How are they vetted? Like the homeowners? How is the homeowners vetted?
I know the materials that you're providing for I think for the Home Repair for All program, when you're providing materials to them, how are you vetting those materials? Are the recipients okay with receiving used materials?
Yes, the recipients come to the store and they pick the material. What we do is we provide the recipients or the homeowners with a $500 gift card, and they can use that to shop and get material out of the store. So they pretty much pick their own material.
Cool. Brad also asked, do you do lumber grading in-house or partner with others?
We used to do lumber grading. We don't anymore.
Cool. I have a question. So one thing that we think about a lot at our habitat is how many different types of audiences there are. And you had mentioned earlier on, like not everybody's a treasure hunter. I'm curious if you have like strategies in your marketing or communications for reaching all of those different types of people, whether they're like seeking you out for bargains or for like picking through and finding those treasures, or how do you like capture all of those different people when you are talking about the store?
Um, we talk about affordable building materials. That's something that reaches everyone. Keeping our prices very low, and just making, we talk about affordable building materials and reuse education, and just making sure everyone has access to the materials. We did this big thing with marketing where we looked at, who should we be marketing at? Should we be marketing at the first-time homeowners? Should we be marketing to the people, the resellers? Should we be marketing to low-income homeowners or low-income renters? And our angle is affordable and making things accessible. So we are targeting low income. Everyone is welcome, but we're a nonprofit. We're here to serve, so that's who we aim for.
Got it. I appreciate that. Couple more questions. How many employees do you have currently versus number of volunteers?
I can't tell you how many volunteers we have on the books right now. I can tell you last year we had 2,000 volunteers come through the door. We have 11 employees in the store, and we have another 15 to 17 employees in the office.
A couple folks are curious why you ended lumber grading.
We just didn't, it wasn't a need for it anymore. The customers wasn't asking about what grade of lumber. And when we recently went through changes and we lost some of our space due to structural damage. So we had to kind of reorganize the store. A lot of the space that we once had we used to have a whole block of toilets. It used to just be a long block of toilets and sinks. And I am not exaggerating. So we lost all of that, which shifted us to only holding small amounts of material. And one of the things we looked at was it worth for us to take up the space to hold the space to check out lumber to grade it. And we decided we didn't have the space for it anymore.
Hi, Natalie. This is Darren, and hi, Deshante from City of Eugene. I was wondering if I could provide a little perspective on lumber grading and building code. I posted it up in the chat. The state of Oregon, as long as salvage lumber meets the requirements that I pasted up in the chat, it doesn't require lumber grading. So I was wondering if maybe that also kind of dovetailed with your evolutionized building practice of not grading anymore. Thank you.
I actually didn't have no idea about that. So that's news to me. When I got here, that's what I was told. Yeah.
That's helpful context. Helpful when the code backs up your business practices. Cool. Quite a few more questions coming in, actually. Kelly is curious, what type of organizations provide grants to you? Is there a mix of private versus government grants?
That would be a question for the fundraising department. I know we do get government grants and we also do get private grants.
Did you see an increase in sales or new customers when we experienced the post-COVID supply chain issues and delays for new materials?
We definitely seen an increase. In the beginning of COVID, we seen an increase. But then as the supply chains started having hiccups and people started holding on to material. So even though we was getting more foot traffic of people looking for material to purchase, we were not getting as much donations. So we didn't have as much material to offer.
I'm going to combine these next two questions. I think you'd answer this, but do you partner with deconstruction partners to get your materials? And then what do you do with items or materials you can't or don't want to keep?
We do partner with deconstruction firms. And if there's any material we don't want to keep, we just deny it. We just tell the donor we wouldn't be able to find a home for it. And we also provide resources of other places that might take that item.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm seeing more and more is like reuse centers in communities where you have enough of them. We become this network and are able to direct people like, we can't take it here, we don't have the space, but this agency over here would welcome it or something like that. And having that info right at hand when somebody drives up and tries to donate something is super, super helpful and helps not get our customers too discouraged. Brad asked, do you try to track your customers by some metric of demographic or neighborhoods they're from, for example, lower income versus not?
This year we just switched over to Shopify. and we'll be looking into doing a lot more of that tracking. Yes,
Mhm.
we're looking into tracking the amount of tonnage we move out of the store per year by tracking the weight of the items that we sell. So yeah, 2023 was a lot of implementation done as far as like things we've done in the store, the changes in the store. We implemented the new Shopify POS. So now 2024 for the rebuilding center is about tracking and seeing how everything turned out, how well we're doing, and things we need to improve on.
Love it. I welcome folks to add any other, Paige asked, great question. Which part of your job do you like the most and why?
The service. For one is my relationship with the rebuilding center through my grandparents, and then for two, when I first started working here, I was on the floor, so you hear a lot of the customer stories. You hear a lot of, oh my God, this door was $300 at Home Depot, it's only $15 here. You hear a lot of look at my project, this is what I made out of the thing that you just sold. But it's really being able to, and then you also hear, I've been coming here for years, and I've been waiting for this, and you guys finally got it. It's the stories and the interactions with the customers. That's what I enjoy the most. And that's what got me hooked into what the rebuilding center is doing, is knowing that we're actually providing a service, something that's tangible. You really know that when this person buys this washing machine and the dryer, you're helping them out because every week they went to the wash house and spent $40-$50 to wash their clothes. Now they get to spend their weekends in the house. Or the door that's broken, the landlord has to come, they have an inspection, they need to replace the door or else they're going to get evicted. There's so many stories that lets me know we're truly helping people, and that's what I enjoy the most about my job.
Fantastic answer. Love that. How many staff do you have dedicated to social media or Shopify?
We have one online sales specialist, and we just hired a communications manager, and that person is going to be responsible for anything social media, any marketing.
Any suggestions to get the next generation into the reuse community as the current pioneers transition out?
Teach them young. Teach them young. Start them early. That's why I kind of like the summer program. And I started early. Well, and I think, you get bit by that bug, and so that's my advice, is just teach them young.
David asked, building material reuse and circular economy have been hot topics at architectural conferences in recent years. Have you seen an increase in inquiries and sales by design professionals or in general?
Increase in sales
From design professionals or architects in particular, I think he's asking about.
I couldn't really say whether it was from design or architect, but I see an increase in people reselling their own items, whether it's because reuse is a hot commodity or it's easy to sell your item on the internet. But there's been a lot of more, I think, individuals selling their own used items.
That is true, yeah. Okay, Megan asked, do you partner or collaborate with other reuse stores to either share inventory or ideas?
Yes. We have community warehouse. I can't even think. Love It. That we partner. Love It is a deconstruction firm that we partner with, and Community Warehouse is another reuse organization that we partner with. We kind of share ideas. Love It donates material with us, so we get material from them. And then also the owner of Love It used to work at the rebuilding center, so we have a close relationship with that organization or that firm.
Excellent. Love the collaboration. Um, do you partner with architectural firms for your products to be implemented in new projects,
That
in
is
new
something
construction?
that is something we're looking into, to get more architect and designers in here. We're trying to figure out what type of material we need to have in the store for them to come in and look at us. But yeah, we don't currently, but we're looking into it.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm going to come back to Paige's question about finding deconstruction companies. And Jack, what are the ways we can connect the rebuild and reuse? Oh, sorry, my gosh. We can reconnect the rebuild reuse ethos with education, particularly to kids.
Question. Um, I think kids will naturally gravitate to something that has to do with reuse education. It's just all about that kid finding a liking and having an adult attach to them and be willing to share the knowledge. I couldn't really give you a straightforward answer on how we should reach the youth. I think we just offer the class. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave it at that and not try to give you any filler.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting new educational programs out there like you're trying and getting folks just into the trades more generally speaking and into like using their hands in different ways. And so I think that yeah, getting younger people into the reuse practices, part of that is growing as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's just making it accessible to them. Like
yeah,
some things with kids, you just got to put it in their face.
yeah, totally. Um, Okay, yes. Carol, the students love to build trash sculptures reusing materials. I love that. Yes. Um, okay, so Paige had asked, where can I find deconstruction companies? And this depends on where you are, but Paige, I would direct you to the All for Reuse ecosystem map, which tracks deconstruction and reuse organizations and agencies throughout the country. Additionally, Build Reuse has a relatively new wiki on our website, which would link to the All for Reuse map in addition to many other things, but might be a good place to go for a comprehensive list. If you're looking in a particular geography, maybe folks on this call even could help you get a little bit closer. Brad asked, do you think the deconstruction ordinance made a major impact in Portland, or would that growth have happened anyway?
It did. That's why we got out of the deconstruction business. The Rebuilding
Mhm.
Center used to have a deconstruction team, and it's where we were getting a majority of our cabinets, our old growth lumber, appliances. And when that ordinance came, it was over. Couldn't keep up, couldn't remain competitive. So we had to gracefully bow out. Yeah.
Do you guys track carbon?
No.
Maybe someday, or no? Right?
2025, we put that
Right,
in.
right. Um,
Um, I just unmuted. Can I ask a quick question? I just missed something that you said, Deshante, like that you had to gracefully bow out. Can you tell me again what question you were answering that you had to bow out of?
Deconstruction.
You mean
Once they
your store and your organization was doing deconstruction or you personally?
No, the organization, the Rebuilding Center.
Thank you.
yeah, good clarification. Yeah. Was it good to get out of deconstruction? Asks Brad.
Um, for the insurance, but it's a give and take. Because I wonder if we would have more material in the store, if we had a deconstruction team still. I wonder. You don't know, like, we really don't know. But I've been talking with my director, and we kind of how can I say this? a form of deconstruction we're thinking about doing, not as much as a whole house, maybe just go in and take a couple items out. Maybe just do cabinets, just snatch out appliances. We're kind of looking into that thing, but I don't think we're going to go back into doing whole house deconstruction.
I welcome any additional questions. I really encourage folks, if you haven't already, to head to Rebuilding Center's website, follow them on social media. Their website is really rich with lots of information and context for some of these changes that have been going on in the last few years. Like I said, I find a lot of inspiration in what you guys are doing. So thank you, Deshante, so much for sharing about this work, how you're trying to diversify your audience and make reuse and repair accessible to as many people as possible. So, oh, Melissa, you raised your hand. What do you got?
So I put this in chat already, but I just heard from an organization here in Minnesota earlier today. Can you hear me? Natalie, others?
What's that?
Anyone? Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Earlier today, I actually heard about a deconstruction training course for students, for kids. And what it is they build like a miniature house. I don't know who they is, maybe somebody at Rethos or somebody at another organization. And the course is teaching the students, the kids, on how to unbuild it, or how to build it and then unbuild it. And I don't know how elaborate it is, but taking, you could take used wood and make a, example house, and then teach people how to build it, kids particularly, and unbuild it. So I don't know any more than that. It was just like a bulleted statement earlier today. So Natalie, you know who to connect with. But as far as others talking about getting the students in young, I thought that was like a really brilliant idea. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Horrible. What did I miss, Leslie? Oh, yeah.
Oh no, she's not responding to you. Don't worry.
No, that's why I didn't either. I just also
I just put in the chat, but yes, thank you, Melissa, for the pitch. It's still pretty new. We're still developing it, but if you guys want updates, we're pretty excited about it. I put my email in the chat, so you can learn about whatever stage it's in right now.
Nice.
I thought I looked for your name. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think it's really, 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 really great idea.
Brad asked, does Rebuilding Center still do the furniture line?
No. We do antique furniture now. Okay. We used to have a vendor that would give us box furniture and we would build furniture. If that's what you're talking about, we don't. Now we still have furniture in the store, but now we focus more of like antique vintage furniture.
He mentioned you used to make furniture from reclaimed lumber.
Not anymore. That was wow.
Long time ago. Cool. Carol, does anybody know of a program that reclaims building material and distributes it without a warehouse? Bill? William? I'm not sure if you have an answer or a question. I don't know of a program that doesn't have a warehouse space, but
Natalie,
yeah,
it's Brad.
go ahead.
This guy, Paul Gardner, and he's Palo Alto. His whole business model is actually like bizarre kind of estate sales on houses where you would actually just go in and actually pull stuff out yourself. So he would hold these kind of on-site auction / DIY salvage sales.
Wow.
There are some other places that do a similar idea that's it's kind of a cross between an auction and a DIY salvage it yourself. So There is no, it's direct to buyer.
Sure. That's kind of cool. Okay. And William, I see your hand up. I'm not sure if you have a question for the group.
I wanted to add something regarding furniture.
Okay.
I'm a designer, and for 30 years I've been designing joinery for reuse so that people can build their own furniture without power tools. Basically, like a hand drill, old-fashioned hand drill, or an old-fashioned saw. And so the joinery allows all different types of wood to be put together to build tables, beds, sofas, couches, benches, chairs, you name it. Whatever you want to build, you can do it. And it doesn't require precise precision. Wood sometimes is not too straight. So you don't need a planer. You don't need any big machinery. You just cut boards to length and add the joinery to it. And you'll have something that'll last 1,000 years. Believe me, it's very strong. It's made out of recycled steel. I'm from Pittsburgh. I used to work in the steel mill, so I've got a long experience of working with steel. And I went into the corporate world, but eventually ended up wanting to empower people to make their own furniture.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing. All right. Not seeing any additional questions. I really appreciate. Oh, yeah, William, can you put your, maybe you did already, but put your contact info in the chat?
Yeah, it was up earlier.
Okay, I'll copy it again. Maybe I'll try to find that. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you, Deshante, so much for sharing what you're doing. I really appreciate the conversation and the questions from the group afterwards. Always great to be learning from each other. So I'll hang on for a few minutes if people want to finish up any chats happening. But Deshante, any final things you'd like to say, or can we let everybody head out?
I just want to say thanks. Thanks for letting me share the Rebuilding Center, share my experience with the Rebuilding Center. Thanks for all the questions. And I hope you guys have a good day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it.